The length of the front is 14 inches and the back is 13 inches. Mark the points on opposite sides to get a straight line. The next we are going to do is mark the chest line. The chest divided by 6 plus 2.5. You'll be able to get the chest line. And mark also for the back. Then you rule a line across. The shoulder here is 7 inches. I mark the shoulder on the chest line also, just to get a straight line. Rule the lines, and next we will be connecting the shoulder slope. The back shoulder slope is ½ inch and the front is 1 inch. Now we're going to divide the shoulder slope to the chest line to get the middle point. You can decide to come in by 0.25 for the front. Measure from the midpoint to the chest line, and the measurement you put it at the back as well. Divide the bust by 4 and the waist by 4. Place the resulting answer at the front and at the back. Then you connect the lines. At the front, come down by 1.5 inches from the chest line. The resulting answer from your middle armhole to the chest line is the bust span. Mark the inches on the half length on the waist and on the bust span line. Next, I'll come down from the bust span line by 1 inch to get the bust dart. The 1 inch is the difference between the front half length and the back half length. Next, I'll be connecting from the shoulder slope to the mid armhole, and with the French curve, I'll connect from the mid armhole to the chest line. Slash through the dart line and close the bust dart as shown. You can secure it with a tape. Then you go ahead to cut the side, the armhole, the necklines, the shoulder slope, and the back pattern. Put the shoulder together. We'll place a fabric on fold to cut the collar. So ensure that the center front is well aligned. Trace with a chalk the neck area, the center back, the armhole of the back, and the armhole of the front. We'll need these markings to cut out the collar. Ensure to indicate the shoulder area. This is what the collar looks like. From the neck depth at the front, we have 5 inches downwards, and go in by 1.5 inch. Then you connect a slanted line. From that point, you mark 4 inches, go up by 1 inch and connect that line. Then you connect it to the shoulder. At the back, we have 7 inches there, and for the width, it is 4 inches as well, just like the front. I'm adjusting the fabric again so I can get ½ inch seam allowance all around the markings. Repeat this same process on another folded fabric. This will serve as the facing of the collar. You also need interfacing for one piece of the collar. So here is the collar, the interfacing, and the lining piece. Transfer the pattern of the upper bodice to the fabric, adding ½ inch all around the pattern, but on the side seam you add 1 inch seam allowance. You go ahead to cut the fabric and cut out the darts. Repeat same markings on the back piece. Ensure to add 1 inch seam allowance on the center back for the zipper allowance. Notch the zipper allowance, then fold the fabric to cut the down part. Minus the half length from the full length to get the length of the skirt part. Marking 7 inches there, that's the waist divided by 4, and added 1 inch seam allowance, and added 6 inches for the pleat. Then on the hip area, I repeated the same process, the hip divided by 4 plus 6 inches. So I'm just creating a pleat to see how it would look at the end of the day. So connect that point to the full length. Go up by 1 inch at the hem area to taper the hem a bit. Cut out the sides of the skirt, place another fabric on fold, and place the front part on it. Here I'm marking 1 inch seam allowance at the center back for the zipper allowance, and I'm trimming the center back out. Then curve the hem as well. Making some alterations on the waist area, we have 7 inches there. I'll mark 2 inches after the 7 inches. This will make one pleat. Then from that point, mark another 2 inches again. This will make the second pleat. So at the end of the day, the waist measurement will be wider than 7 inches when we have 1 inch remaining for the seam allowance. So what I'll do is to minus 1.5 inch from the waist measurement. So here I'm taking out 1.5 inches from the side, then I'll connect it down to the hem of the skirt, then I'll cut it out. So this way, after pleating, I'll have the exact waist measurement plus 1 inch seam allowance for sewing the side. For the sleeve, the original sleeve length is 8 inches. I added 4 inches to that to create volume for the balloon sleeve. Rule the hem. On the center front, you need 3 inches to create the excess gathers at the top of the sleeve before marking the upper arm and creating the S curve. Connect the side shape and you cut out the sleeve. Here I am making pretend pleats at the top and at the bottom of the sleeve to show us what it will look like. We will go ahead to couple the upper bodies together, and this is how it should look at the end of the day. Here I'm assembling the collar. The interfacing is ironed on the lining piece, so you sew every area by 1/2 inch except the neckline. Trim off excesses around the seam and turn the collar inside out. Then you go ahead to give it a good press. Place the back and the front bodies together on the shoulder and sew by 1/2 inch. Please use a matching thread. I placed the collar on the wrong side of the neckline, that is the shoulder seam showing there. So you sew around the neckline and turn it to the front on the good side. Here I am sewing the darts of the bodies. Repeat the same process on the other side of the dart. To connect the skirt part to the upper bodies to make it a dress, you need to place the upper bodies on fold and create a notch, as well as placing the skirt part on fold to create a notch, so you can place the center together. Then you sew it up to the dart on one side. I will indicate my 1 inch for my side seam allowance before creating my double pleat, starting from one of the darts. So you try to pleat to one direction towards the side seam preferably. When you are done pleating on one side of the waist, repeat the same process on the other side of the waist. Ensure to always stop at the dart point. When you are done, this is what the pleats should look like. Repeat the same process on the back part of the dress, connecting the skirt part to the bodies and creating the pleats. Then this is what the front and the back should look like after joining the side seam by 1 inch. Close up the center back and you can go ahead to attach your zipper. Now this is the sleeve part. I have attached the sleeve on one armhole and place the sleeve on fold, then make a notch. Place a loose stitch on the upper part of the sleeve and gather. Attach the sleeve starting from the shoulder to the side seam and from the shoulder to the other side seam. Next, fold the hem of the sleeve by 1/2 inch and by 0.75 again to create the channel for the elastic. Then you sew down the side seam. The dress is ready. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.